we have a big problem. We're missing compression on one of the cylinders in my truck here. And just to bring up to speed, yesterday when I was picking up the Mini on my way home, it started to getting hot on the freeway. So I took off to a gas station. I drove into the gas station, no problem, and it was overheating because the radiator cap, I'm not sure if I hadn't put it on as it should, but it was like this and hanging on like that, so it was just pouring out water. And the tabs here are not broken, nothing broken here, so I'm guessing that I didn't tighten it enough when I checked the water last. But I mean, I filled it up with water, it cooled down, I drove home fine, no issues at all. And then a few hours later, after we had worked on the Mini, I was going to go and pick up my kids, and it was vibrating a lot and was down on power. And then I heard some sort of knock, and I took off to the side of the road, and I tried to turn down the ignition, and because maybe it was some pinging. But then I tried to start it, and you can hear that rumbling when you're trying to start something with missing compression on one cylinder. So yeah, I really think that we, for some reason, have lost compression on one cylinder, and I don't understand why. It was running perfect all the way home, and then something broke. Is it a piston ring? Is it a valve? I don't know, but we're gonna look into that here for an hour or two. But after that, we really need to probably do something else, because I don't think that we will be able to solve this problem here today. It's probably something internal in the engine, and this is my only running and driving vehicle that is street ready, so we had to figure something out. So I'm gonna put a couple of hours here, and then I think that we will change into working on Suburban that is running good, but it needs some brakes and it needs an alternator and some other stuff. So I really need to get that thing up and going so we can take that instead, and then we have to think about what we can do with this. But obviously we have to find some sort of issue or determine that we can't fix it here today. So we're gonna start looking into it, and I'm gonna just remove the spark plug wire to the coil to show you how it sounds when you're cranking. I removed the spark plug wire from the coil, and if we crank here, you hear that it doesn't look or sound like a smooth cranking. It's galloping a bit, so that's an indication of one of the cylinders being bad, and this stumbles me because I don't know what happened here. But we're gonna see if we can find what cylinder it is and look into that cylinder. We're gonna try and find the cylinders quicker which ones are the problem. So instead of taking out all of the spark plugs and checking the compression, I'm gonna go ahead and start it, and I'm gonna loosen the spark plugs and see which cylinders does make a difference, because those are running good. And if we remove the spark plug wire and it doesn't make a difference, we know that those aren't working with our team here. So I'm gonna start it, look at that, and then we can remove the spark plug from that cylinder that is having a problem. It's a bit weird, because first I thought it was one of the cylinders on the passenger side when I removed it, but then I went a few turns, and the next time I removed it, I didn't really feel that difference. So I've been going like five loops around this thing, removing the spark plug wires, and I have determined that our problem cylinders, plural, is number 3 and number 5, which is weird that there are 2 cylinders down, and also why are they down? And the thing is, number 3 and number 5 is obviously next to each other, which is interesting. So what on earth could have happened? The only thing I'm thinking about right now is a head gasket. So why did that fail, and how did it fail to make 2 cylinders go out of compression? I don't know, but we're gonna remove the spark plugs and start investigating. I removed 3 spark plugs because this is 1, 3 and 5, because I want to have a reference cylinder which we think is good, and obviously the spark plugs looks even and nothing in particular to complain about. But this, I have checked the cylinder or compression on cylinder number 1, and it's 160 psi. So now we can put this into number 3 and number 5 and check those and see what that tells us. Got cylinder number 3 hooked up here. And that obviously doesn't look good. So we have gone from 160 to about 30. So that sucks. So what has happened? I don't know. But we're gonna check number 5 also, and then maybe we can look into the cylinder with my camera. Don't think we're gonna see anything. But after that, I want to remove the valve cover. But after that, I don't really see much that we can do here. So yeah, that's the plan. So cylinder number 5. Just as bad as number 3, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and see if we can get a camera into the cylinder. It's really tight on number 5, but I'm really thinking some sort of head gasket failure here. But I'm gonna remove the valve cover just to make sure there's nothing in the valve train, and see if we can find anything. I removed the valve cover, and as I expected, I can't see anything wrong here, and I didn't think that because we had no valve train noise, so that's not our issue. I was looking here in the cylinders, and it's obviously really hard to see with this thing, but I can't see that the pistons are broken or anything, but we can see that the pistons seem to be very moist or wet, but I think that's fuel that obviously has come into the cylinder but hasn't been combusted, since we don't have compression for that. So I don't think that's an issue in that way. So I think that either we have broken piston rings, but I don't really think that. I think since we have issue with 2 cylinders that are a pair, I think that the head gasket has blown between them in some way. So in an effort to try and determine that, I want to put this together again as it's supposed to be, and then we're going to try and start it and see if maybe we can see bubbles in the radiator, or if maybe we can see that we have some crankcase pressure through the valve cover to hopefully get some sort of determination what our problem can be. But after that, I think the only thing left to do is pull the head and change the head gasket, which will not happen today because it might be the head that's cracked or warped or whatever. So I don't think that's a very a solution that's, what can I say, a concrete solution that we can solve here today. And it's very ironic because in case you don't know, I changed the engine on this thing very recently because the other one was taking in a lot of water, because probably head gaskets. So I wanted to avoid that work, and now we basically have to do it anyway. So that sucks. But yeah, I'm gonna put it together and see if we can find any blow-by or anything in the radiator. We got this all together again, and I have removed the oil cap to see if maybe there is some blow-by, and we have the radiator cap off to maybe see if we can determine something in here. So we're gonna start it. Sounds really bad. And now of course it's cold, but no real blow-by. I mean, of course it's moving, the water is supposed to be circulating, so can't really determine anything there either. So it's hard to say. So my truck is down for the foreseeable future, and of course I would like to remove the head and look into it, but I really don't think I want to waste that time today when I don't think I will be able to solve it, not 100% of at least. So we're gonna leave it, and my plan is I'm gonna clear out the tent so that we can put the car in, or the truck in there later on, and pull the head in without having to move it around and being dependent on getting it together again. So that will happen like next week or something. And it's pretty ironic that I have like 13 cars or something, but this is the only one that is in street legal functioning form. But I mean, we have been working towards getting more cars so that I can use more of them. The Suburban is pretty close to getting inspected. The biggest things is the rockers, but we're gonna obviously look into that today. We are going to get the Chevelle up and running next week was the plan, but now that's an issue because we can't pull it with this thing to the inspection. And I was planning on working on the yellow Nova, so that can be street ready and everything. So my main goal is to have two to three cars that is working all the time, but unfortunately this thing broke now less than a week before we had at least one more car on the road. So it really sucks, but that's life, I guess. So now we're gonna ditch the truck and start working on the Suburban instead, so hopefully we can drive that thing around. I'm debating myself here if we should work outside with Suburban. We're going to work on the brakes, we're gonna change the tires, we are going to change the alternator, and I could do that outside, but it's a bit chilly. And also I know I'm gonna do such a more effective work if we take this into the garage instead. So even though I don't want to, I need to put the tank back in the Chevelle so we can take that out of here, clean the garage, and take the Suburban in here, because yeah, I'm gonna work so much faster in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Chevelle is out of the garage, and it was actually really nice jumping into that thing now and not having to worry about your feet falling through the floor and cutting up your legs. So hopefully we can get back to that soon. But for now we have the Suburban in the garage here, and here's basically the list of everything we need to do. We have some rear brakes, wheel cylinders and shoes, a belt, we have an alternator, we have front calipers, we have the master cylinder, hoses and whatnot. So I think we're gonna start with this. This is the alternator. So see that we can get that working, and then we can put it up in jack stands. We're gonna change the tires and do the brakes. Alternator, not the biggest problem in the world. We're just gonna remove the old one, put in the new one, hope that it works. If it doesn't, then we're gonna look into why it doesn't. New alternator in place, new belts on. So hopefully it charges now. And I realized or remember that we have one more problem that we have to look into. But yeah, we just have to fix it. Let me see if it charges now. Yeah, now it's far over 13. So that's great. So now it at least charges. So now we can move on to brakes, tires and whatnot. We got it up on jack stands. I removed the wheels so that we can put on some new tires on them. And now we're into the brakes. We are going to replace the wheel cylinders because they are leaking, and we're going to replace the shoes in the rear. And I don't think that's going to be a big of a problem because they have already changed the brake lines and they look decent. I think we're going to have more trouble here in the front, and we're going to obviously change the calipers, pads and the hoses here in the front. And the problem with the hoses is not so much the hoses itself. It's more of, I think that the lines are going to break here, unfortunately, which will cause us some issue, but we can make that work. So that's here, and also we have to change the master cylinder because it is leaking here in the rear, which is going to ruin our paint on our booster, which isn't the end of the world, but yeah, that's not good. So thinking about if we're going to start with the master or start at the bottom, I don't know, but I'm going to figure that out. So I went ahead and I cut the hoses so that the system could bleed out while I was changing the calipers. So now we have new calipers and pads on both sides. So that's great. And speaking of new calipers and stuff, I have decided from now on that I am never is a big word, but I'm not going to bother with used brakes anymore. And I mean, obviously, if the car has been sitting for a few years, maybe you can get a thing running or the system working and so on. But in all fairness, everything I buy has been sitting for at least 15 years, and it's just not worth the trouble with leaking wheel cylinders, leaking master cylinders, and bad hoses and so on. It's just, it sucks to buy it. I know, I mean, I'm the first one to tell you that I'm a cheap ass, but I mean, if you think it's not worth to buy the brakes for the vehicle, it's probably not worth saving in that sense. So with that said, from now on, I'm just gonna buy new calipers, new master, new wheel cylinders, and everything with it, and just change it, because it's not worth the hassle. And also, I mean, you want good brakes. So we're gonna take that with us to our next projects. But with that said, as I said, I cut the hoses, and it's been draining here for a while, and this is soda, what's blue here in the bottom. So this maybe a couple of drips, but nothing has basically come out of this hose. And I cut them at the same time. And if we look on this side, it's not all that much, but we at least have some brake fluid in here. So it's draining a bit slower than I thought on this side also, but it's basically not draining anything on that side. So I'm thinking that maybe that brake hose is a bit swollen, so it doesn't really get that much brake fluid, and that might be why our brakes were pulling to the right when we were stopping before. So hopefully by changing those we improve that. So now I'm going to go ahead, loosen that, remove the brake hoses, and if we're lucky, everything goes apart and this is going to be really smooth, or they twist off and we're going to have a bit of work in front of us. This was a pain in my ass, but thankfully we got it loose in the end. You can see it is so tight, but it doesn't really look like that on camera, but you have the lower radiator hose, you get the positive going to the starter, you have these lines, and it's just really hard to get up here. It's at an angle, it's lowered in here, and same thing on this side. We have a bunch of stuff in the way, and they were really stuck. I had to make my own tool to get a good grip on them, but eventually we got it loose, and I didn't really want to bleed out here on the floor, but I don't care. It can get as big of a mess as it wants right now. But we still have to there's some nuts holding the brake line in, so we need to get those off, but that shouldn't be a problem, shouldn't. But also you can see how much is dripping now, and there's still nothing in the soda can. So yeah, that's how stuck this brake hose was. So yeah, I'm gonna try and get the new ones in place now. And here we have the hoses in place, and this was a real pain. But we're done at least, and you can see the angle on the frame here. That causes so much issues with clearance and getting the tools in place and so on. But we made it. So front brakes are done. So now we have to think, should we change the master, or should we do the rears, or whatnot? I can't really decide, so I have to think about that for a little bit. I decided to do the rear brakes, so I tore this apart, changed the wheel cylinder, and it was leaking, and I put the Coke bottle here, and then when I was done, I spilled half of it out, so it didn't really matter. And yeah, this is a mess, and it's not good to work under stress, but what can I do? So I'm gonna go ahead, put this together, then I'm gonna do the other side, and then we go to the master. Here we have the rear brakes on the left side, all done, and obviously I fixed the right side also. So we have new wheel cylinders, new shoes, and so on. So the braking system is basically done, except for the master cylinder. So we're gonna go ahead and try and change that now. But I gotta say already that I know that this is just falling to pieces. I am never going to be able to finish this. I'm basically not even going to be able to finish the brakes here. It has taken too long with the front hoses. I started too late this morning. I'm going to have to pick up the kids early. And yeah, this was not the right date for the truck to brake. So I'm guessing that maybe there will be a long night of working today with probably another video. We'll see. But we're gonna see what we can accomplish here. But yeah, I'm out of time. That's the thing I want to say. But I'm gonna change the master and see if we can start getting some brake fluid to the wheels. New master in place, and I have hooked it up here with my bleeding lines. So now I'm gonna pump it a few times, then we can connect these. Obviously the front portion is all empty. The rear probably is decently full of fluid, but I don't know. But I'm gonna jump in here, push the pedal a few times to let it bleed out, and then we can connect the lines again. Got the master hooked up here, so now we can go ahead and bleed it and hopefully get the system working good. But I am out of time. I wish I wasn't, but I really need to quit right now, and this is a catastrophe because the truck isn't running. The Suburban is basically more non-running than it was earlier today, but after seeing the brake hoses, I am glad that I wasn't driving it on the road. So it obviously needs some more work, but I don't really know what to do right now. And with that said, the only thing I really need a vehicle for is leaving my kids at school and picking them up. It's just a few kilometers, and it's not really walkable, but it is, you could do it by bike really. So I mean, I'm not stranded in that way, but I really need to have 2 or 3 functioning vehicles in the fleet, which we're obviously working towards with the Suburban and the Chevelle and so on. But now it was just unlucky that this happened. If this would have happened next week and the Chevelle was done, this wouldn't have been that much of a problem. So yeah, we just have to keep on working here, and soon we will have the Suburban up and running, the Chevelle up and running, and we just have to do some work to the truck, and then we will have 3 vehicles. So we're very close. It was just unlucky that this happened as of right now, but that's life, I guess. So I have to go and pick up my kids now. I have to think a little bit. Do I work late here tonight, or can my wife leave the kids on Monday so I don't have to work the weekend? But yeah, I have to think about that a little bit, and then we can discuss it. It's been a few hours here and I'm back in the garage, but unfortunately I won't be able to do much more progress here today. There's a bunch of other stuff in the background with family and such, and it's the weekend and so on. So we'll see how I'm gonna solve this. And I mean, it's really ironic that I only have one functioning vehicle, but I have really been working towards having more of them, and we're so close in the Chevelle. We're pretty close here on the Suburban, and I mean the Chevelle is ready mechanical wise. It's just the rust and the registration. And the other ironic thing is, since the truck is broken, we can't take the Chevelle on the trailer to get that thing registered. So I could have a functioning vehicle by Wednesday, but since the truck isn't working, I can't take it there. So that, yeah, it's really sucks. And even if we got the Suburban working, the appointment I have is about 1 hour away, so I'm not really sure the Suburban is ready for a 1 hour trip. And also it has a really bad towing capacity. The Swedish rules are really stupid. I'm not gonna go into that right now. But with that, I can't pull my trailer with the Chevelle on it, because that would be over the towing capacity. The registered towing capacity, of course, is gonna be able to do it, but it would be illegal to do that. It's really stupid. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment. I'm not really sure how we're gonna solve this, but either I manage to do something this weekend, or we will continue on Monday and hopefully get the Suburban up and running. But I guess we'll see that. But I hope you enjoyed the video anyway, and I will see if I'll be back to you this weekend, or if I'll be back to you on Monday.